Hey guys, what's up? Comment Saturday. Today's video, I want to go over the stomp and step. Okay. Now, the reason why I came up with this method of training, I have a student and he has a very hard time bringing up his rear foot. Okay, and so what happens is that he'll step with his foot, but then this rear foot will not come up the same distance, right? So he'll step out, and this will be lazy, and eventually his stance will all widen out, and then the only way to bring it back to normal is to bring his foot up, which is of course really bad for your balance and your rooting. Okay, so the idea here is that you want to push off with the opposite foot. Alright, so meaning that if I'm stepping with my left foot, it's my right foot which is pushing me off. Okay, and if I want to go that way, right, it's my left foot which is pushing me this way and this way. See, so so it's always the opposite foot, okay? And so if your lead foot or your rear foot would whichever foot steps first, if that moves 4 inches, 6 inches, whatever, the other foot must also move the same distance. Okay? And you can always police yourself by the Yi Kim Yung Na stance from Wing Chun. Okay, now you know we've done it before. Okay, when you open up here, 1, 2, 3, and there. Okay, so however you step, okay, you go this way, whatever, I can always close back into that stance. Okay, now if you can't do that, it means you're either too wide or too narrow. All right, so that's always a good way to measure your stance and make sure that you're okay. Okay, so whenever you're doing any kind of footwork training at random periods, random times, just close back into the stance. And if you can do it at any time you choose, then you know you're good. Okay, now it's going to take time to actually get there, okay? Because when you first do it, it's going to be kind of a mess, okay? You're going to be all wide and narrow. I know that, okay? But practice, okay? So, so this stomp and step, okay? This is a method of training which I use to help him, and it can help you too, okay? You know, one thing as a teacher, as an instructor, okay, it's one of the most challenging things is to understand that people have to learn in different ways. Okay, not everyone's going to learn the same way. You know, me personally, I never had to do that. I just got the concept right away, and that was it. Okay, it's just one of those things. Okay, I struggled with other things. Okay, but that particular concept was pretty easy, and I got it. I really didn't have to use tricks like this. Okay, but not everyone can do that. Okay, but those same people may have strengths in other areas that I didn't have, so it all evens out in the end. Okay, all right. So what we're doing here is, if I'm going to step forward, I will stomp and then step. If I'm going to go backwards, I will stomp and step. So do it. This does a couple things. It puts your thoughts onto the foot. Okay. It gives you like a launching platform to drive off, because you have to compress in order to step forward or backwards, or however way you're stepping. You need to always compress before you go. Okay, you look at a bird taking off from a branch. You know, it may have tiny little legs and feet, but it will still compress before it takes off. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so you'll do it. You're ready to go. Boom, boom. Compress, root, and step off. Okay. See. So you're always, you have no choice but to think about that. Okay. Now later on, obviously you don't want to do that all the time. Okay. It's only for training to get this concept in your subconscious, and then eventually you won't need to do it. You can just step forward from wherever. You just step accordingly from wherever you are, and you could pivot as well. Okay. Even the same thing can apply when you pivot. Maybe I will stomp, pivot, right? Stomp, pivot, stomp, pivot. You see, same idea. So whether I'm stepping, now in the pivoting case, of course, the stomping foot, that's the one which is doing the work, which is turning, okay? And the stomping and stepping, okay? So I guess you can do stomp and step and stomp and pivot, okay? But either way, they'll both put the energy into the correct foot. Okay. Another thing that this stomp and pivot does is that it prevents you from crossing your feet, which is a big problem. A lot of times I see people do this or do that. Okay. And of course, when you do this, your balance is compromised. It's very easy to fall and trip. I mean, look at how bad my balance is here. Okay, right? So remember, whichever foot is nearest to the direction you're moving in, that's the one which moves first. So if I'm moving this way, this foot will go first. Boom, right? However, stomp to reinforce the idea. Stomp and step. Stomp and step. Stomp and step. Stomp and step. Okay? All right, and so do that for a while, right? Do the box, okay? So stomp forward, stomp left, stomp back, stomp right, okay? And then I can go the opposite direction. Stomp left, stomp forward, stomp right, stomp and back, okay? All right, and then I can pivot as well. Stomp, pivot, stomp, pivot, stomp, pivot, stomp, pivot, okay? Stomp, pivot, okay? All right, so, you know, doing these drills, yes, it's kind of clunky and awkward maybe, but you're trying to, ultimately, in martial arts, you know, you're training for a feeling, okay? When you know the feeling of being rooted and centered, and you know, you know when you're on, and you know when you're off, okay? And doing this kind of stuff will just ensure that you're on. So it's that split second of feeling that root and knowing that that's when you can drive off, okay? And you're training for that split second so that in a real situation, like I said before, you're not gonna do that, okay? Right? But you're just gonna know, you're moving around a little bit, right? You're just gonna know that that's the time to step up. Just constantly weight shifting, whatever, moving around, whatever, and you know, and then you'll know at that split second, that's when you can pivot, that's when you can step or whatever. Okay? So there you go. Stomp and step, stomp and pivot. Okay? Work on those drills, make it second nature, make it instinctive. And then when you're ready, you can try and do all your footworks without the stomp, just going, okay? So you have the basic box step, okay, like we did there, and we have the stomp and pivot, okay. One almost forgot this. How could I forget this? Okay, stomp and step through, okay. So stomp, step through, stomp, step through, stomp, step through, okay. Okay. You see there, I stomp, stomp, through, stomp, through, stomp, through, okay? In the martial art of Xing Yi, it's very common to do that as well. You step forward and drive off, forward, drive off, okay? So, and that's, you know, and they incorporate that into their training as well. But once again, okay, it's not something which you would do in a real situation, but it's good for training and to get that kind of energy, okay? There's a thing they call like bouncing energy as well, okay? So boom, boom, so step and drive it in the ground and bounce the energy up, okay? You step in, you boom, you root and you bounce the energy up, boom, boom, okay? That's the idea. All right, there we go. Stomp and step, stomp and pivot, and stomp and step through. Okay, there we go. Any questions, as always, let me know. And don't forget that the Centerline boxing course is live, online, ready to go. I'm gonna have a link for it in the comments, okay, in the description. Okay, so anyways, I'll see you guys soon.